Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
We'll wait a few more minutes until 10 o'clock and then we'll get started. Okay, it is time. It is 10 o'clock. So let me open in prayer and then we'll get started on the reading. Father, as we open your word, we need to hear from you and we need to understand, Lord, what you can teach us through the text that we will be reading today. Let us not approach this just as only some Hebrew we read, but let us approach it as we're reading your word. So let your word go forth and may it have an effect upon us, transform us into the image of your Son. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, can I have a volunteer to read verse 21 of chapter 19 of Genesis? So one can read it up to the Atnach, not Atnach, Atnach, sorry. Atnach, and then the other one to the end of the verse. Okay, Don and Christina, thank you. So Don, if you can read it to the Atnach, and then Christina to the end of the verse.
Vayomer Eliav, excuse me. Hine Nasati.
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 No, Nasati.
Nasati.
The action is on the sa. Nasati.
Is that what the L looking thing tells me?
Yeah,
okay.
Menuach.
Faneka Gam Ladavar.
Good.
Hazeh.
Hazeh. Good. And then Christina.
Mevilti Hafki et Ha'ir Asher.
Yeah, hold on. This one is actually a Kametz Hatuf. So it's Hofki. And it is like that because it's I just know it's an infinitive construct, and Levilti normally negates an infinitive construct, and an infinitive construct with a suffix often goes to this kotel pattern where we have a kametz hatuf and then the suffix if you have a suffix. So yeah.
Okay.
Bit tricky, I know.
Yeah. Et ha'ir asher dibarta.
Good, dibarta. Yeah, and so here, Vayomer Elav, and he said to him. And of course, it is the Lord here, or one of the men there. Hine nasati panecha. And this is an idiom, nasa panim. Is literally, it's to lift up the face, but it really is to look favorably upon something. So, and behold, I also look favorably upon also this word. So this thing that you have said. And what was it that he had said is, well, he wanted to go to this nearby city because he said, I can't reach it any other place. And so he says, yes, I will look favorably upon this request, this word, levilti hofki, by my not overturning the city of which you have spoken. So as I said, this is when you see levilti is the negation of the infinitive construct. That is the word that is normally used in the great majority of the times to negate the infinitive. So not overturning the city of which you have spoken. Let's see. Could you parse dibarti? Dibarta, sorry. Anybody? What's the root?
So it's davar.
Yeah, dalat betresh. What's the binyan?
It's a PL.
PL, good. Person, number, gender.
It looks like it's a second person singular.
Masculine, singular.
Masculine.
Yeah, and then what verbal form? I forgot to mention that.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Just for the fun of it, for good old time's sake, parsing some. Good. So, all right, let's look at. Let me scroll it up. 22, and so we have the atnach here, and then the end. Do you have any volunteers to read up to the atnach? And any after the atnach? Okay, that's all. Okay. Paul, thank you. Up to the atnach. Anybody after? All right, that's all right. I'll do it. So Paul, you want to do it?
Okay, here we go. Maher Himalet Shama.
Shamma. Yeah.
Shama, yes. Shama ki lo o vel la.
Uchal.
Okay. Uchal la asot devar al boa.
Ad.
Boacha.
Mhm.
Yeah. Shama.
Shamma. Yeah. All right. And then al ken kara shem ha'ir tzoar. And so here then we have the verb maher, and it is the way it is pointed might be a little bit tricky, but since there's a patach there, that is not usual. That is not normal. We don't have any performatives. We have 3 consonants, so that's good. That's mem, he, resh. That should be the root. None of those consonants, with the exception maybe of a mem, you might think that might have been added or so. But we do know the word maher, and it's to be quick. And so here it's an imperative, and it says quickly escape there. Quickly escape there. So this is the PL, imperative, masculine singular. And then this is a nifal, imperative, masculine singular. Quickly escape there. For I will not able to do a thing until, and then we have boacha. What do you think is boacha? How would you analyze that?
Until you come.
Yeah, until you come. So what's the root?
Bar, bat, and aleph.
Yeah, bet aleph, but the root would be bet vav aleph, right? That's how we would normally learn it. What's the binyan? Is it kal, nifel? What?
Ka.
Kal, good. What's the verbal form?
What do you mean? Like,
Yeah, is it a
masculine?
perfect? Is it imperfect? Is it participle? Is it infinitive construct? Is it absolute? Is it imperative?
Perfect.
Joseph? Perfect? No, it's not a perfect. Perfect would be ba. See, here with this makef and it connected to a participle, when a verb is connected to a participle, it can be two things. It's either an infinitive construct or a participle. But in the great majority of the cases, 90% of them, it will be an infinitive construct. And here, a participle actor would be the participle of bo is ba, and it's bo, so it's an infinitive construct here. Until you're entering there. So he's saying, go quickly because I gotta execute my judgment, but I can't do it until you enter there. So I cannot do anything until you enter there. So the cha is of course a suffix, and this is what we call a subjective suffix, meaning it acts as a subject. Until you're entering there, until you enter. That's how we translate up. Until you enter there. And so then it says alken. Alken, you shouldn't really treat that as two different words, but as one idiom. Therefore, so on that account, the name of the city is called Soar. Soar. Because Sa'ar, the verb is to be insignificant. So, and that's kind of what Lot was saying earlier. Do we see it? Yeah. Behold, this city which is near, please let me flee there, for it is little, and I will let me escape, please, there. So he's saying it's just a little city, or insignificant city. And so the name is then Soar. Soar. And so that is referring to that it's just an insignificant city. Is that a true name? Was that the true name before? We don't know. That is now what it's called. Quite a few places can have double meanings. I mean, double names. Some of them are nicknames. And so I wonder if this is more like a nickname. I mean, I think of places in Belgium that had almost all the big cities or bigger cities. They all have nicknames. They have the real name, and then there is this historical connection, and then they are kind of named in a different way. Like there is a city called Lille in near my hometown, and it was offered in the 15th century to have the emperor said you can either have a university or a marketplace, and foolishly they picked a marketplace. They just thought of the finances. And then the university went to Louvain. Louvain is a very famous university from 1425. So the city Lille is now called the sheepheads because they rather would have a market for sheep than a university. And so that's so typical. So I think it's kind of the same thing here, is the insignificant one, because it was able to be saved because of its small size here. Long story for this explanation. All right, let's go to 23. It's a short verse. Does someone would like to read that?
Mark.
Okay, Mark, take it away.
Okay. Hashemesh.
Hashemesh.
Hashemesh. Okay. Yasa.
Yatsa.
Yatsa. Al ha'aretz.
Good.
Valot. Ba. Sa'arak. Sha'ara.
No, So'ara. So'ara.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the O.
Yeah.
Yeah. So'ara. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is a very colorful way, the sun went out upon the earth. So, and that just means is the sun rose. But that's how it sees the sun is going out upon the earth. That's the expression that they use to talk about the sunrise. And then, so as the sun rose upon the earth and Lot entered Zoar. Now you can say, okay, we have Zoar here, and now it's Zoara. Well, the here is a hey directive. It's into Zoar. So you could do that sometimes with a preposition L, or you can just add a kametz he at the end towards Zoar. So, and Lot entered into Zoar. So at that time, that's the sign to the Lord. Okay, he is safe there now. And remember, Lot asked this, and then God said, okay, I'm allowing you, and I'm not going to overturn that city. But it seems that Zoar was really part of the chain of cities of the region there, the district that was going to be overturned. But God now spares that city so that Lot has a place to flee to. Okay, and we'll see that a hint of that a little bit later. All right, let's go to 24. We'll divide it again into two. One, if you can read it up to the Atnach, and the other one after the Atnach. Volunteers?
Sure, I'll take the
Okay.
first one.
Andrew, okay, and Christina, good. Andrew, you take the first, and then Christina, the last part here.
Adonai himtir
Mhm.
al Sedom al Amora Gamathrit.
Gafrit, yeah. Gafrit.
Gafrit.
One more word?
Oh, sorry. Vaesh.
Yeah, Vaesh.
Ma'et Adonai min Hashamayim.
Hashamayim, yeah. And so here, and the Lord, Matar is, himtir is to cause to rain. Matar is to rain, but it's raining, but here's to cause to rain. So the Lord caused it to rain al Sodom, upon Sodom, al Amorah, and upon Gomorrah, Gafrit, often translated as brimstone, but it's a foreign word. Gafrit vaesh, brimstone and fire, from with the Lord from heaven. So it's interesting because later on, of course, in the Exodus story, God causes bread to rain from heaven as a sign of blessing. So God can bring rain upon the earth, like in Genesis 2, it uses that verb to say he hadn't caused it to rain yet so that the plants could sprout. And then in Exodus, he calls to rain bread, but here he causes to rain brimstone and fire. Quite an expression of judgment there. I think, yeah, Himtir is the Hifel from Memtet Resh. Hifel perfect third masculine singular. It's the Lord who calls it to rain. All right, I think that's all there is. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got a question on this verse. Is it clear what's from heaven?
Okay, what's the question?
Well, there's two possibilities. There's somebody on the earth with the name the Lord, and then he caused it to rain brimstone and fire. Brimstone and fire is one of the possibilities from heaven, but so is another person who carries the name Yahweh. And I'm wondering if you can tell which of the two possibilities the text
Okay,
says is from heaven.
I'm not understanding what you're trying to say. Okay, let me read you again what I think the translation is, and then let's come back. So, and the Lord calls it to rain upon Sodom and Gomorrah, brimstone and fire. It's not the brimstone, so we don't need the sign of the direct object. From with the Lord from heaven.
Okay, so I guess the thing that excites me about this verse is you have the angel of the Lord standing on the earth, and he calls down from heaven fire and brimstone.
Yeah.
From somebody else, the source of whom is somebody else named the Lord in heaven. You have somebody named the Lord standing on the earth and another person from heaven with the same name.
Yeah, I don't know if I would analyze it like that. The three angels, one of them who's then identified as the Lord, we don't know now where are they. Is the Lord back in heaven? So I'm not seeing here that one is still standing upon the earth while he calls it to rain, and then another one is, so yeah, I'm not sure I would press it here. I mean, you talk about the incarnation of Christ, I take it, right?
Yeah, he's named in Malachi the angel of the covenant.
Yeah.
And in other places, he's hinted at as being the same angel of the Lord.
I don't have a problem with that, but it's just I'm not sure that I would want to read it here. I would want to push it here. I would see it earlier in the text, yes, when he's talking with Abraham. When it's suddenly from the three angels, from the Shalosha Malachim, suddenly we go to Adonai.
Yeah.
So yes, there I would see that. Here, it is kind of, in all fairness, it's not an easy ending. If it had stopped here, if it just had said Vadonai himtir al Sodom va'al Amorah gafrit va'esh, it would have been perfectly fine. We understood. The Me'et Adonai min hashamayim seems to be, yeah, or at least the Me'et Adonai seems to be, how do you put that in? And maybe there is something, Paul, but syntactically, it's a difficult ending. If this was missing, and I'm not saying it has to be missing, it's there, so we leave it there, it's right. But I struggle with what's the function of Me'et Adonai, because it already is said, and the Lord called it to rain upon Sodom and Gomorrah, brimstone and fire, from with the Lord, from heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last we heard of the angel of the Lord was when Abraham left him, and he was standing there alone.
Yeah. And we'll see a reference to this again as to where the Lord had spoken to Abraham. We'll see that in a few verses. But yeah, it's.
Thank you for that.
I find it an odd ending. It would have been easier if Me'et Adonai here had not been there. It would be very smooth. I'm not saying we should erase. No, it's there. I just puzzled a little bit, and I'm open to further explanation as what is it doing there? Because it almost seems superfluous. It's not. There is nothing in God's word that's superfluous. But I'm struggling with it. And so I'm open to any suggestions that you have, though. But yeah, But to then say, therefore, it must be the angel of the Lord, I'm not sure I find that as convincing. But again, I'm a mortal man, and I might be not seeing it. So yeah. Okay, let's go to 25. Thank you for that. It's kind of fun to discuss some of the issues here. So, all right, 25. We have the Atnegis right here. So it divides a bit better than the other ones. So who would like to read the first part? Don? Okay, yeah. Who would like to read the second part?
Mark.
Okay, Mark, thank you.
ויהפוך את הערים האל ואת כל הכיכר.
Hakikar. Good. And then Mark?
Okay. Va'et kol Yoshave.
Good.
He Arim.
Good.
Ha'arim. Va Sama.
Tzemach.
Sama. Ha Adoma.
Ha'adama. Good,
Yeah.
good. And so here, Vayahafoch, it's the Oholum. When I see this, I see first a pater. Oh, pater on the preformative. Then immediately I start to think, is it a hiffel? But it's immediately negated by the holum here. The holum here is a typical mark of the kal. So why is there a pater here? Because of the guttural he. A he is a guttural, and gutturals like ah sounds underneath it or before it. So that's just a regular kal narrative preterite or vayiktol, third masculine singular. And hafach is to overturn. That's what Jonah went out, so in 40 days, and the city will be overturned. And here the Lord overturned Arim Ha'el. Ha'el is a shortened form of Ha'elle. Ha'elle is these. So, and the Lord overturned, and he overturned these cities and all the district, all the plain that is around them. And all the inhabitants of the cities. So not just the cities, it's also all those who are living it. And Tzemach ha'adama, and the green or the plants of the ground. So it's a complete obliteration there of this district, of this region. That when the Lord calls it to rain, Gafrit and Esh, it destroyed everything. The cities, the people, and even the vegetation. It's all gone. It kind of expresses a complete judgment upon that land. Yes. Any questions? Yes.
My instinct would probably have been to translate the El as a god or a ruler.
Yeah.
How do I tell the difference between that and the Ella?
Yeah. Well, then you have to ask really, how is this word connected to this? Okay. So both have a definite article. This cannot be in construct because it has a different article. A construct noun never has a different article. Not only that, if this was construct, it would be are. It's not are, it's arim. So there are two. So either you have to say, and God overturned the cities, the God one, that makes no sense. And so it is tricky. And sometimes what is nice is to quickly do a search. Where else do we have Ha'el? And you realize it's actually a pretty common abbreviation for Ha'el. Now, of course, we like it better when it didn't abbreviate, but that's the way it's done at times. So yeah, it's a tricky one. Ha'el, by itself, it would be indeed the God, right? The God, which is another way of sometimes referring to God, but it's a rare, that normally only occurs in poetical forms. So we don't normally have that in narrative. In narrative, it will always be Elohim. So, yeah. When I read this, I kind of quickly see what's the possibility, and I quickly jump to, okay, I know that Elle sometimes it's abbreviated as L, and so I just go to that, and that makes the most sense. We do that in English all the time, you know, when we have words that could have maybe double meanings, I mean different meanings, we quickly, because we are so in tune with the language, we quickly eliminate the semantic ranges that don't fit, and we don't think about it. It's just obvious. But when it's not our language, then of course you're right. You know, how do we read this? And we have to go through a little process. You'll get better at it the more you read. So keep reading. That's the idea. Okay. Let's go to 26. 26 is a very short one. If just one person can read it, that would be great. Volunteers?
I will.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Va tavet. Ishto. Mea haren.
Me'achariv. Yeah, me'achariv.
Yeah, it's a verb. Okay. Va te va he.
Vatahi.
Vahi na se nasev.
Natsiv.
Not seem. Okay.
Siv. V. Natsiv.
Va.
Yeah.
Okay. Nasim. Melech.
Melach.
Melach. Okay.
Yeah, melach.
Okay.
So here, vatabet is from the root nun bet tet. And the nun has been assimilated. And the patach immediately makes me think, patach underneath the performative, is it the hiffel? And then I go look at the theme vowel. The theme vowel is the vowel between the second and third consonant. But we only have two consonants here. So I'm starting to get confused here. Only two consonants. But still, this is the last consonant. So this is very likely then the second to last. And we see it sere. It's not a chirikiot that I expected, but it is still an I-class vowel. So that convinces me this is a hiffel. Now, why the sere, not a chirikiot? Because vayik tolls, or narrative preterites, another name for that, they shorten the vowel from a chirikiot, which is a historically long vowel. It just goes to a long I-class vowel, which is a tsere. Tsere is a long I-class vowel. So that is indeed what it is. And so here, vatabet, the dagesh in the bet is because of the assimilation of the nun. So the root is nun bet tet, nun bet tet. And so she looked, and his wife looked. It's a third feminine singular, looked behind her, behind it, really. You can see there is a text critical note because people are uncomfortable that she's saying, and his wife looked behind him or behind it. We had expected, as the note says, me'achreha, behind her. But this is what we have, and we'll deal with it. So it's either behind it, whatever it is, but it might be behind him, that she looked behind her husband to look at it. And then, and she was, Vatahi, a pillar of salt. Netziv melach. Normally, no, a pillar of salt, it's fine. Netziv melach. So this is in construct with the word melach. The the body of water that is nearby that place, we call it the Dead Sea. But in Hebrew, they call it Yam HaMelach, the Salt Sea. And if ever you've been there, the water is so salty, you can just lie down in the water and you don't have to do anything, you float. I've done it once. Walking into the water, it's so slimy on your feet, and I really have a tactile problem with that. So I did it once. I will never do it again. I had enough of that. And then you go and rinse yourself off because it's also pretty smelly. But it has lots of nitrates, lots of chemicals or things that they can use. So it being used, it's a great source for minerals. That body of water is slowly evaporating, because it used to be that the Jordan River would sufficiently replenish the water that is evaporated. But because now they're using a lot of the water for agriculture from the Jordan River, and the what used to be Lake Hula, which is not there anymore, is being used for agriculture. There is not enough water that gets into the sea. So slowly it is evaporating. There are talks about digging a canal from the Red Sea, from the Gulf of Aqaba or Eilat, all the way to the Dead Sea. And it could work because the Dead Sea is on the surface more than 1,200 feet below sea level. The deepest point of the Dead Sea is 2,400 feet. It's the lowest place on Earth. So if you connect it with the Red Sea, it would go down. So it could work. They have not done it. It would be a multi-billion-dollar thing. And then also the question is, will this upset the ecology? So I don't know if they're ever going to do it. They've been talking about it for about 40 years. Even in 1979, when I first went to Israel, they already were talking about it then. And nothing has been done. No advancement has been made. So it is kind of interesting. All right, let's go to 27. Any questions on 26? Everything clear? Okay. All right, let's go to 27. So 27, where is the, yeah, we can divide it here. We have the Atnach here, and then after the Atnach. Any volunteers?
I can do it.
Okay, Helen, up to the Atnach. And if somebody after the Atnach, if nobody does, I'll read it. Okay, Andrew, thank you.
Vayashken Avraham Baboker.
Good. And then Andrew.
El Hamakom,
Mhm.
Asher, Amad, Shem, Et, Paneh, Adonai.
Adonai. Yeah. And so here it says Vayashkem. And again, I go through the same thinking process. I see a patach underneath the preformative consonant, yod, and I'm thinking immediately hifel. And then I check my theme vowel. Oh, it's a tzere. That seems to fit. It's a hifel. So shacham is to get up early in the morning. Shachav is to lie down on bed. It's also in the hifel. But so they both start with shin, kaf. But the way I remember this, shacham is morning, early in the morning, right up early morning. Shachav is lying down on the bed. So that's kind of how your little mnemonic devices that we use, right? So Abraham rose up early in the morning. Early in the morning, baboker. And it doesn't say it explicitly, but it's kind of, he rose up to the place, meaning to go to the place. Which place? Asher Amad Sham et Pene Adonai, the place where he stood before the Lord. Now, this is interesting, because earlier in 18, some of you weren't there, it says also that Abram was still standing before the Lord. But there is a note, what we call a tikkun soferim, which is called an emendation of the scribe, that originally in 18 it says, and the Lord was still standing before Abram. Now, the scribes changed it from the Lord was still standing before Abram to Abram was still standing before the Lord. Because standing before somebody is also an idiom to say he's ready to serve. And the scribes felt that we should not allow this chance that somebody could think that the Lord was ready to serve Abraham. And they changed it, but they made a note. They made a note, and so these notes are preserved in Masorah, and there are about 18 emendations of the scribes like this. So here, I failed to check, and let me quickly see if there is a note here on this. No, there is no note. So I just wonder if this is also one of those tikkun soferim. But anyway, so so he recalls the place where he was standing, and remember that place was where you could see the plains. So wherever Abram is on the hill country of the land, when you look east, you can see the whole Jordan Valley and the Dead Sea. You can see that it is that high up, and there is a very good view of that. So the hill country of Judah and Samaria, the highest point is around 3,500 feet above sea level. So now you're going down, the whole Jordan Valley is below sea level. So from the from the Sea of Galilee, which is already below sea level, all the way to the Dead Sea, it's still below sea level. So we're talking about possibly 4,000 feet, 5,000 feet difference in height. So he's looking down. And so that's, now he's standing there, recalling, because he gets up to see what has happened now. Were the city saved? Were there 10 righteous people to be found or not? You know, and so he wants to see what has happened. And so that's what we find then in 28. Let's see, it's a little bit longer, but it's a nicely balanced verse with the Atnach kind of in the middle. Someone would like to read the first part? Okay, Paul, thank you. And someone needs second part? Okay, all right, I'll read it. Let's do this.
Okay. Vaya Shekef El Panay Sodom. Al Panay Sodom Va'amorah Va'al Kol Panay Aretz.
Panay Eretz, and then one more.
Hakikar.
Yeah, and then it says Vayar v'hine ala kitor haaretz kekitor hakifshan. Again, we have this whole series of hiffles. So we see the same thing here. We have a patach is reformative. There is no guttural that forces that patach. So I'm already inclined, this patach here must mean it's a hiffle. And then I look at the theme vowel, it's a tsere. That's an I-class vowel. So yes, it is a hiffle. So here, shakav, it's a lower frequency word. So he looked down upon the face of Sodom and Gomorrah, meaning really upon the area of Sodom and Gomorrah, and upon all the face of the land of the districts. So again, upon the surface, looking at the surface. And he saw, and behold, smoke of the land was going up like the smoke of a kiln, so a little oven. So he could see smoke is coming up. So he knows what time it is. He knows what has happened. It is indeed, judgment has come, which means not even 10 righteous people were found. But God proved righteous anyway, because he saved the 4 righteous. He saved out of that city. So he did not allow the righteous to be destroyed with the wicked. He saved Lot, his wife, and his 2 daughters and brought them out. So God is righteous in this. Okay. Any questions about this? Yeah, the funny thing is Vayar. So we have Vayar from Resh Aleph He. The He often in the Vayikol drops out, but then here with the Aleph, an Aleph at the end of a word often quiesces, and that's what happens here, Vayar. And so we don't pronounce the Aleph. It's just written still, but it's not pronounced. We do that often in English too. We have quite a few consonants that we write, but we don't pronounce. Just like the when we say dough. Though he saw the wickedness, but we don't pronounce it G and H at the end. We just say dough, All right. And then we have 29, which is a bit longer, longer than the verses we've seen so far. We're going to divide that into 3 sections, maybe. Let's just do 2. So the Atnar is here. So if somebody can read the first line and then somebody the second part. Yes, Don, you can read the first part. If somebody would like to read the second part. Okay, Andrew, thank you.
Vayehi b'shachet Elohim et arei hakikar vayizkor
Good.
Elohim et Abraham.
Good.
Vaishalach et Lot mitok
Yep.
ha'afecha bachafoch.
Yeah, Bahafoch, yeah.
Bahafoch et he'arim asher yashav bachem.
And then what? Lot, yeah, Lot, yeah. So here, it's kind of a recap of a verse. And it says here, and it was. And then we have B'shachet. Let's analyze this. B'shachet. What is that? Okay, I'm going to give you one big clue. It's a verb. Okay? So what's the root? We have too many consonants, right? We have 4 consonants. Our root normally consists of 3. So one of them is not part of the root. Which one will be voted off the island?
The bet.
The bet, yeah, bet. I'm suspicious of a bet here. Okay. Now, actually, a tav could also be suspicious. Sometimes we add a tav. But here you're right. It is the bet. That would be my first choice. And also because there is a verb out there, shachat. So this is a good verb. Now, of course, the second question. So it's the shin chet tav. What's the binyan then? The patach here, well, the bet first tells me it's either an infinitive construct, because it's a preposition, or a participle. The patach here makes me think it's not a participle. Why? Because, well, if it was a kal participle, it would be a holon. If it was a nefal participle, it would be a nun. If it was a piel participle, it would be a mem. Same for the hifel, hofel, puel, and hitpael. It would be a mem. So it's not a participle. It's an infinitive construct. But what's the binyan?
Could it be PL?
It is a PL. Yeah, it is a PL. The patach is a typical marker of the PL. Now, of course, normally the PL has a doubling of the middle consonants, but this is the guttural one. And there are two ways that we can handle the doubling. Either, since with the guttural, we cannot double it, with the aleph and the resh, we will lengthen the previous vowel. But with the chet and a he, we will not do that. The ayin can go both ways. The chet and the he, we speak of virtual doubling. And so, which means we don't put a dagesh and we don't lengthen. And that's what it is here. So, and it was when the Lord destroyed, literally this, and it was in the Lord's destroying of, but you can better say it as when the Lord destroyed et are hakikar, the cities of the district. So when he was destroying them, when he was ready to destroy them, that God remembered Abraham. Why did he have to remember Abraham? Well, the next phrase makes it clear. Vayeshalach et Lot. What is Vayeshalach? What's the root?
Shin lamet chet.
Yeah, Shin Lamet Chet. It's very true. What's the binyan?
Pa.
Say it again.
Pa.
PL, right? PL. Pa'al would be the Aramaic form, but so PL. And it's interesting because normally PL would have a tsere here, but because of the guttural, the chet, it forces the change from the tsere to patach, so vaishalach. And shalach in the kal means to send, but in the PL is to send away or to send forth. And so he sent forth Lot from the midst of the overthrow. When he overthrew the cities. So this is, again, a bet preposition with an infinitive construct, kal this time, kal of hafach, when he overturned the cities in which Lot dwelt in them. In them, bahen is a preposition plus a third feminine plural suffix because arim or ir is feminine. So that is how he remembered. He remembered the discussion that he had with Abraham. Will the God, the righteous one, allow the righteous to be destroyed with the wicked? And he had bargained God down to 10. And he remembered it, and he did not allow even 4 to be destroyed. And so he sends them out. He sends them out from the city. Any questions, remarks, comments?
Yeah.
Yep.
The meaning of remember here, I think we as English speakers quickly grab for you forgot and then you remembered. But there's also a use of remembrance that's not forgetting, but making special point of bringing it forward. So how do we interpret God remembered Abraham?
Yeah, in Hebrew, when it says and he remembered, it's always connection with action. So remembering is not just a mental act. Remembering means you recall something to act upon it. And that's what God did. He remembered and he acted in this way by sending out Lot. So when he said, and God remembered Israel, it means he's going to act. We don't always say, yeah, I remember that, but sometimes we don't do it. We recall something. But here it always is, if you look at all of the context, and with God as the subject, he acts when he remembers. Yes, Andrew.
Does that also include imperative forms of zakar? Like when it's commands to remember the Lord your God?
Yeah,
to remember element?
yeah. I
Is
mean,
that what this
when
is
he
all, or is
says zachar, it means act. Recall what I've said and act upon it. Act in accordance to it. Yes.
Because I mean,
Yes.
that'll preach, man. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes, it does. It does. Yeah. All right. We got time for one more verse. So we got verse 30. Where is the Atnach? It's a little bit unbalanced here. So I'm going to stop here by the Zakef Katon here. So if somebody can read up to the Zakef Katon and then somebody after. Any volunteers? That's all right. I'll read it. It's getting late. So here, Vaya'al Lot Mitzoar Vayeshev Bahar Ushte Benotav Imo Ki Yare Lashevet Betzoar Vayeshev Bama'ara Hu Ushte Benotav. And here it says, and Lot went up from Zoar, and he dwelled in the hill country. He dwelled in the hill country, and the two of his daughters with him. Why did he do that? Because he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he dwelled in the cave, he and his two daughters. So there's a good reason why Zoar was ready to be destroyed also, and was only saved because Lot asked, I can't reach any safe place. This is the closest I can make it to. Allow us to do that. So God allowed it, but Lot recognized they're of the same caliber as Sodom and Gomorrah. It's not safe to dwell in them. And so he rather dwells in a cave than to stay with Zoar, which is kind of interesting, So he recognizes, it really is affirming, actually, their judgment would have been right also. But it is, again, God was not even willing to allow 4 righteous people to be killed with the unrighteous, with the wicked. And so he saves them. He saved that whole city, although they are very wicked. All right. I'll mark this so we can continue that next time from here, from verse 31. Thank you, guys. So I did create a YouTube channel, and I will upload this. So if ever you cannot make it, just want to give you a heads up. On July 2nd and July 9th, I will not be able to do it. I'm traveling. My daughter is moving to Alaska, and I'm bringing her to Alaska. So
Yeah. Whereabouts in Alaska?
Anchorage.
Yeah, I'm 30 miles away.
Okay. Where you live?
I live in Palmer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's in Matanuska Valley.
Yeah. I
So
don't know
you're-
anything
You're coming up
from through the
You're with her?
Yeah. I'm driving her because I'm giving her my car. She needs a 4-wheel car, all-wheel drive car.
So you're going through Canada?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Have you ever taken that route?
No, no, it's going to
Oh.
be quite a trip.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, that's great. Okay.
So anyway, but the 2nd and the 9th, I will not be able to do it. I will repeat that.
Yeah.
So my apologies for that, but I just will be traveling and it's not going to be possible for me then. Okay.
You know, yeah, if you need any help while you're up here, just give me a call.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Mark. All right.
Okay, yeah, I'd be glad to help you. Okay.
Okay, guys.
Or take
Thank
you out
you.
to dinner or something. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have a good
All right, yeah.
rest
Thank
of the
you.
week. Yep. Bye.
All right, bye.